Oh, no, I
recording's in
don't consent.
progress.
Hi,
guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Q&A of the 2023 San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. Today we have the Q&A for a funny section. I can't remember the program. Guys, what's the program? Do you remember?
Laugh out loud.
Laugh out
Laugh
loud.
Out Loud. That's it. A funny section, and we're very fortunate to have all these wonderful filmmakers here with us. Hey, filmmakers. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Hello.
First off, congratulations. Not only for getting into our film festival, but for making a freaking film, because I know how hard it is.
Sure is.
Well done. I'm just going to go around the room right here. I'll start off and I'll call your name out. Shireen, can you just introduce yourself and your film and what your role was, please?
Absolutely. My name is Shireen Khan. I'm a part of the Who's Talking About Alice crew out of LA. And along with my co-producer, who I'll let introduce themselves, I produced, wrote, and acted in it.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here. And who are your co-producers? Why don't you guys go next?
All right, cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Maximilian Blanc, also part of Who's Talking About Alice. I co-wrote, co-produced, and acted, as well as did the editing and animation for it.
Cool. And you have another third member here? Yes, go ahead.
Yep, that's me. My name is Jake Ebright. Nice to meet everybody, and loved you guys' films as well. I also co-produced, co-wrote, and co-acted in Who's Talking About Alice as well.
Thank you for joining. Hey, Jason Dugree and your friend, you guys go next.
All right, I'm Jason Dugray. This is
Brian
you
Coffey.
can say your name.
Oh, thanks.
We are from All We Have to Do Is Kill One Guy. We also have our producer, executive producer, editor, amazing everything else guy is also on here, but we'll let him talk next. We are thrilled to be here.
Yeah, he directed.
I directed
We
it.
wrote and both started.
Yes.
Yeah, you look familiar. Well, glad you guys are here. Who's your cohort? Which one is he?
And I'm Michael Duffy, and I'm the producer editor for All We Have to Do Is Kill One Guy.
And I want to ask questions already, but I'll wait. Nathaniel, you're next on my screen.
Hey everybody, I'm Nathaniel Moore. I am the co-writer and co-producer of Eulogy, and then I acted in it as well. Happy to be here, guys.
Right on.
Megan, do you want
with
to?
me?
Well, I was gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna take. I'm LA based, and Megan.
I live in Scotland. I directed Eulogy and I wrote it with Nathaniel.
Scotland. All right. Thanks for coming in. Joining
No
Fly
worries.
LA. And then next I have Jason Robinson, please.
Hi, my name is Jason Robinson. I'm, I think, the only one here. Chris was going to join me, but I don't think he could make it. He's in Canada. I wrote, co-directed, did the song for Career Day, and I'm in LA. And but I was born and raised in the Bay Area, so I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good. Right on. Yeah, I'm calling in from San Francisco, so good to meet you. And then I think that includes everybody. Where's some other people calling from that haven't mentioned their location? I'm just curious. Maximilian.
Oh, I'm Los Angeles. Born and raised in London, but live in Los Angeles.
Right on. Shireen, where are you calling from?
I'm in LA, Atwater Village.
Cool. Jason and Brian?
We're in Burbank.
Burbank. And then,
I'm in Burbank
Beautiful
right
Burbank.
now.
You're in Burbank? What?
Yeah,
and what
yeah. I
about,
live in the Valley, but I'm in Burbank right now. So.
what about Jake and Michael? Do you tell me where you're from?
I'm in Los Angeles.
LA as well for me too. Yeah.
Wow, we got LA in the house. Well, welcome everybody. I'm more interested in Scotland though. Scotland.
Yeah, me too.
Dark and
So
cold
tell
here.
us about your film. Not about your film, but how did it come about? What started it all? You directed Career Day?
Jason, yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. I was going to Scotland. I'm sorry, Megan. Which one did you direct?
I didn't know who you were. I can't see who you're
I'm
talking
like,
to.
wait, what?
Who? What? Huh? Yes, I directed Eulogy. Nathaniel and I wrote it. We set a very ambitious standard for ourselves, and we wrote 2 shorts, and we shot them on the same weekend. We had the same cast and crew for both of them. And we're really grateful that both of them are in the festival. So thank you so much for having us. And
Worthy. They're worthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The story was based on an idea from Nathaniel, if he wants to jump in. And
Yeah, I had it's called Eulogy. You've all seen it. I had an experience of giving a eulogy for a friend who had killed themselves, And the night before, all of us friends getting together, I was assigned with picking the order of who was going to talk when. And so I had everyone's kind of speech or what they were going to talk about. And just, it was a really funny experience for us being like, well, I don't want to follow that guy. Okay, I'm going after him, and just kind of having a good laugh as we would have with our friend the night before. So I will say that at the actual funeral, we did a much better job than the people in our film.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah. Eulogies and funerals are always kind of nervous and anxious, but
Yeah.
idea. And Jason Robinson, since I cut you off, what was the inspiration for your film?
It's interesting because I watched all these shorts and some of them felt like they're part of a bigger piece. Like Eulogy felt like it was part of a bigger piece. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it could be
This was
a feature movie.
Yeah, exactly. So this was part of like a pilot that I'd written. And then I looked at the first act and I'm like, wait, if I grabbed like the first 10 pages, it was like it was a half-hour comedy pilot. I mean, this would make a great short. And then tried to get it together before the pandemic, and then it didn't happen. And then rallied everybody after, everything got settled. It's just a funny idea. I had an actor brought it to me, but he brought it to me as a drama, believe it or not. And I just laughed at it when I heard the idea. I said, this it sounds like a comedy to me.
Yeah.
So I took the idea and turned it into a comedy, and then he left the project.
Yeah.
And
All
then
these ideas are very inspiring, interesting. I gotta move on for other films here. What about Alice? Did you binge on the Brady Bunch or something? How did that come about?
We're actually a sketch writing team called People Watching, and Alice, who's talking about Alice, is the first sketch that we developed, and that sort of landed in our pitch process, and we're just really hell-bent on expanding into the absurdity of our times. Basically is our whole premise. And then just a lot of homage to old television and cinema that's baked into a lot of our work.
And not that I'm experienced this, but just you combine kind of drug usage with anything, and you get some laughs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You've got a good time, is what you got.
And that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, for sure, unless it goes south or turns sour. But Jason, you guys, did you have someone in mind that you wanted to kill? What was your inspiration?
Yeah, we have a list, but in this one, this is so we started writing this probably pre-pandemic. We had an idea for it is part of a bigger piece. We have a pilot. We're going to expand that to do a feature potentially. We have escape room ideas. I mean, we have like but we decided early on that it was tonally, I was like, it's too much like Barry. We're out. We can't do this. Yeah. And then the more I watched Barry, I was like, oh wait, Barry's a hitman trying to go straight. We're two guys who've never done it before. So that was kind of the premise, and we decided we wanted to do a short. Michael and I went to high school together, and we wanted to collaborate on something. So we wanted to do a short that was fairly well contained, sort of easy to shoot. We have a one-shot version of it as well. So Brian and I spent a whole week memorizing the 8.5-page
Wow.
script.
Did the one location in the car only provide benefits? Was it easier, or what was it like doing
a lot easier?
A lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah. But what about where you shot? Were you you just picked some random neighborhood street? This street's quiet. Let's do it.
I was right in front of my house in my car. So it was all.
It was really easy. Super duper cheap.
Super easy. My wife did the costumes. My son was second AC, so it all worked out good.
Nice.
And your performances and deliveries make the movie, of course, because we're on you the whole time. So well done. Good
Awesome.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got to credit the director where credit's due, right? So. How'd you get him to be funny there, director?
Oh man, it wasn't easy. Brian comes from mostly dramatic stuff, right?
Yes.
I mean, mostly Shakespeare.
Mostly.
I had to whip his accent out of him. No, we met doing sketch comedy many years ago. So actually I made my job easier by collaborating with Brian because he's funnier than me. So
well,
because you guys are sketch comedians.
Yeah,
Alice, you guys sketch troupe, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How come you work so well together and just were kind of like jamming off of each other so easily in your takes?
Yeah,
What?
it's cool. We all kind of met in an acting class at some point or another. So which is a lot of scene study based work that we do there. So Shireen is the one who got us all together and asked if we wanted to be a part of the sketch writing team, and then Max, you please speak to it as well, Max. We joined on and we just started making stuff together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, on the set, like we had it scripted, but then there's also room for improv. So a lot of it is just an organic sort of chemistry as actors and as friends. I mean, whenever you work on a project, it helps if you are good friends with everybody involved. So it just only lends to the chemistry and the comedy of it all.
Right on. Yeah, all the chemistry in these films was excellent, and our casting was excellent. Megan, Nathaniel, you guys too. I mean, you're kind of one-offs on the podium, but just great performances.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Megan can talk to that.
I mean, we wrote it with Nathaniel in mind, obviously, but we're like racking our brains for who we thought would be great, and we picked folks we'd worked with before, and just got a read on them and saw what they would think, and it was really fun to work with all of them because they were just there to play. And I just let them do, whatever they wanted, and then would rein it in, and we would try something else. And particularly for the middle eulogy, it was a journey to find the really nasty guy. It was really hard to find that balance. And we ended up doing a lot of more serious, and then all the way to the completely absurd. And we ended up using, I think, solely coverage of the completely absurd, because it somehow just like letting him loose just really helped balance everything. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I will also, sorry, that's a doorbell.
Delivery.
I promise you there's no one there. It just goes off. Somebody unplugged it.
I got the Blue Angels flying over by, so
I will say, like, Megan and I have worked together in acting capacity in the past. She's coached me on stuff. So when we had a different director for our other short, and I was like, Megan, you got to direct this one because I know you'll take care of me for the actor me that's going to be on set. I was like, I will feel comfortable with Megan, helping me shape that performance, because as we were, going into producing it, you get all wrapped up in everything else. And then I was like, oh, I got to learn a 3-page monologue. Why did I write that for myself?
So did actors contribute? That's other shorts speak up here. Did actors contribute to the script, or was the script just like set and there's no flexibility?
Mine was pretty set. I'd worked on it a lot. The actor was super pro. He'd done a lot of stuff, kind of a known commodity. So he came on, he was ready to go. But what's interesting, the one part that changed was originally I had the kids really getting into it. And then we looked at it, we're like, would they really react like that to a bunch of like fathers doing this dance or middle-aged men? And we thought maybe they'd be a little bit more stunned. And then we used the teacher to kind of bring out the fan part of it, because she had known them when they were younger.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, made a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and we always wonder like what happened to celebrities of past, right?
Right. Where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now? And or you'd see all those like Vegas shows of past rock and roll bands that are still performing, going on into their 70s and 80s.
Yeah. It's the only way they can make money. They got to tour again.
Right. So now, why a short versus a feature? Like, I love shorts, but as filmmakers or performers, like
Jason, I'm going to step in here for everybody. I don't know if you know how budgets work. Shorts much cheaper.
Wait, what about no budget filmmaking? You can't do that with feature film.
I mean, listen, we appreciate you talking for us, but our budget was actually $5 million.
We squeaked by.
The CG was worth it, guys.
Most of it went to Mike Duffy right there. Michael Duffy.
I had a lot of producers. I have a lot of overhead.
The trailer, all that.
So speaking of that, any fun challenges for any of your particular projects, or were they all just perfectly smooth? You got out on time and everybody was happy.
I think for Alice, a fun one that I like to reflect on is the fact that, we have all of these animated moments spliced in to demonstrate Alice's, antics and her other sordid life. And when we wrote it, we're like, oh yeah, we'll just kind of like do that thing, right? And then we sat down to do a shot list and worked with the director and DP, Alex Kugelman, and Rich Bay. And they're like, okay, cool. So what do you want here? And we're like, oh, but weren't you anyway? So it got to this point where we're like, all right, we need a solution. And then Maximilian Blanc over there to the rescue. He just like the books and came forward with this like really brilliant solution that to me like also added to this homage sense, like a little bit of like Terry Gilliam, essence. And I was like, we were all just it just came together so beautifully, and it was just a solution that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the trick. It's like with that kind of thing, if the interstitials look like absolute crap, like it just doesn't work. It doesn't lend to the humor. So it's like, how do we make it look polished, but also include that physical comedy into it, without it being a distracting element.
Like Daniel said, you throw money at it.
Exactly. And thankfully we didn't have to. It's all After Effects. Yeah, exactly. We didn't actually have to do crazy stuff.
I will say one challenge for us was the church we shot in did not have any air conditioning, and it was the middle of the LA summer. So it was like between takes, it was like, I'm wearing a full suit, like taking it off, putting it back on. I think the other one for us that Megan can probably speak to is just it's as a short, it's quite, it's people on stage, and you want a little more dynamicness in the shots if you can, but without doing it for no reason, right?
Yeah, and it just came down to like doing a lot of coverage. I still wish we shot 2-cam, but I wish we could have done more coverage than we did and just gotten more variety, but we were on a really tight time schedule, which we had great producers that ran very smoothly, but it was a learning experience too. And like, I always see like what I could do more of, but aside from them sweating, I think
those challenges make you more creative.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, for the sake of this question, because Michael is such a great producer and we got a great DP and a great sound guy and had a great crew, we really had no issues. We actually got done early and added a couple shots because we had time. It was.
I mean, if you want to talk, we did have one challenge because we wanted, like Jason said before, we wanted to do this in one shot.
Well, yeah.
And because of that, we had to come up with something where you can get shot, change really, like we had to have 2 sweatshirts. One guy had a bullet hole.
Yeah.
So we had to leave the car, change real fast and then get back in. So I wasn't just sitting there like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So there in the one shot, there was that challenge to try and solve, but
even that went fairly smooth.
It did go fairly smooth.
Was that a wide 2 shot and you're just panning back and forth, or were you just?
No, it's just
it's
a 2 shot.
Yeah, it's the 2 shot
just
through
the
the
2
windshield.
shot. Okay.
Yeah, and they had worked out the timing quite well. It went really, really well. It was maybe a touch too long, but Brian is of course brilliant at just vamping by saying nothing.
Yeah, no, I actually wasn't worried about and this is a director issue. When we watched because I didn't want to have to watch every take after it was done because I'd make everyone sit around for another 8.5 minutes. That was cutting into our $5 million. So, so I watched the one that I knew we got really well and I loved it. But what I didn't have time to pay attention to is that the end was didn't quite have the impact. We didn't cut out of it. We weren't as amped up as we wanted to be. So that was the only reason that I allowed Michael to say we should edit it and use all the coverage that he told me to get.
That was my question for you, is like, where in the process did you make that decision you're not going to do the one take, and did you just get coverage just for safety and sort of hoping that the one would be the one?
That's a great question.
Did you have to go back and reshoot? Like, what? How did you?
No, we argued about it a little bit.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, we went back and forth a little bit. My main trade is I'm an editor, so of course all I want is coverage, right? I want choices, and I said it. And as the producer, I thought it might be silly to waste all of our takes just on one camera. I can get us 3 cameras, and let's let's go ahead and do the first 2 or 3 takes all the way through, which PS they nailed. I think the first take didn't work only because the dog wasn't ready or something in the background. I can't quite remember. Something was wrong. But the second take, they nailed it. And I go, oh, shit, maybe Jay is right. We can do this. But
You were doing the dog live?
Yeah, we had a live dog.
Really?
Yeah, a real dog. And a real dog and a real dog walker.
Wow. Okay.
Where the 5 million went.
Yeah, so just for the dog.
That dog is an
The
expensive
dog had a
performer.
rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, for cashmere bed. It was a nightmare. So yeah, we did it. And then I wanted coverage because I thought, we don't want to get into the edit and find that this really isn't working because, you're amped up on set and everything feels really good. What's it look like? So I brought it back and then I edited it and I gave him his cut that he wanted. Of course, I showed him the edit first because I wanted him to fall in love with that. And he's like, I get, I get how this could work. But, let's watch the one take, And we went back and forth and decided the timing was probably a little bit better. We can really dial in all the moments between, Brian and.
So funny because this is such sorry to cut in. It's such a familiar conversation because the dance and Career Day is much longer than that. And so I wanted to see the whole dance.
Yeah.
Right. So I had the editor cut the entire thing and it was super long, another couple verses. And they're like, this is just way too long. I mean, it's like the whole film. And so I had to really cut it down, but I definitely wanted to see it first.
Yeah.
So,
I was working with kids.
that was tough. Yeah. I mean, they're super enthusiastic and you have to work with them individually. But they loved it because they loved the song. They were dancing to it at lunch and they memorized the entire thing. So they were into it.
Cool. Because what they say, for an indie short or indie film, no kids, no babies, no animals. You guys have
no animals.
Yep.
And no
Yep. No,
explosions.
well, the kid thing was super lucky. I knew a guy who runs a theater for kid actors for television, LA, very LA. And he just put a notice out to the parents and they all responded. So they're just super happy to be in it. Super professional too. It's crazy.
Probably
kid
much
actors.
more professional than a lot of adults, I imagine.
Yeah, it was super smooth. We got really lucky.
So when you guys were planning this pre-production, did you writing the script even? Did you know it was funny? When do you know you got funny? You know what I mean? How do you know? Or do you just have to wait until you act it out and it's like
you got trust?
I read the script and I was like, this is funny, let's shoot it. So I knew it was funny from the second I read it, and also being in one location, I thought, well, this will be a lot cheaper to do. Let's do this.
I think, and Brian and I have done so much comedy together over the years, whether with each other or with different groups, but on the same stage, that I think we always try to make each other laugh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I
thought
get,
you were just gonna say that we just know funny because of our experience.
you just know.
Well,
They only had to kill 2 guys.
That's true. That's
I was
true.
gonna say, Jason, that was very similar to our experience as well. We all wrote together. There was, 5 or 6 of us, and whatever made the group laugh is kind of the idea that would bubble up to the surface that we would stick in the final story.
Yeah, Alice came out of a writer's room practice that we met weekly and, developed something every week. And Max, were you going to jump in on something?
Oh, no. It's sort of a separate point, but finish your point, then I'll jump in.
Yeah, it's just I think the Alice script floated to the top because, we would just read them back and laugh out loud. And then when it came time to throw some money at something, it was just like, well, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'd say, no, go for it, Max.
Oh, sorry. Real briefly, a similar experience, when we were first reading and writing it, we thought it was very funny. Obviously, on set, there's that energy. You feel like it's funny. But I don't know, Michael, if you experienced this as an editor, but I certainly felt this way when I was in the edit and watching it over and over. You cross that threshold, you're like, maybe it's no longer funny. But then because you're around the footage so much. And then you need to release it, and you need to have other people's opinions to see if it actually works.
I'll agree
I
with
would
that,
agree.
Max,
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, when we had it in the edit, there was a time where like, I never, ever
I
want to
never wanna
watch
watch
this
that
ever
again.
again. And I'll say, like, I'll speak for myself, and Megan, you can tell me what you think. Like, I don't think our priority was like hammering the comedy in ours. I think, we have been, in festivals in kind of comedic blocks. Like, clearly that's an element of it, but it's different than some of yours, which are like, I'm going for a joke. I think our feeling was if we're true to it, people are weird enough when they're dealing with grief that like this can be honest and it will be funny, and that's been a really great experience watching it with audiences and seeing where I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have laughed. That's not where I thought.
Yeah, and I think for the challenge in figuring out what was quote unquote funny, it was more, yes, making each other laugh, absolutely, like you've all said, but it was also sort of torturing the characters a bit and like
Yeah.
what would
That's
make
big
this
for Megan
movie.
and I.
Yes, and what sort of what we would throw out ideas and we'd go, oh, that's like, oh, that hurts my soul. And so if it was really
It goes
landing
in.
there, or just painfully awkward, because that's what we're so interested in. Yeah, it was like the more painfully awkward, we would just lean toward that as much as possible.
Yeah, and we had because I was going to be on camera and not being able to really pay attention to the jokes we were hitting. We asked a friend of ours to be our comedy consultant, and he just to go to your point, like he was great and he helped us refine a lot of the stuff, and then he was also pitching jokes, and any joke that was too absurd, like we really wanted to keep it grounded in reality. We wanted to just be funny just for the sake of it. We wanted it to be a real moment with these characters in this absurd situation. And so
It's
I
a
think
great idea. A great idea. I was just going to jump in and say, when the idea, you feel really, really confident in the idea, then the comedy just kind of flows from it, right? I mean, I think all these ideas are super funny. And when I hear the idea, I immediately think of many, many lines that I draw up for it. Like right when I heard your idea and I read the synopsis, I'm like, he's going to have to say like, this has to look like an accident or something along those lines. You can just hear the dialogue like right away. And then it's just a matter of getting your pacing down, because ultimately it always feels long in the editing room, right? You're like, God, this is too slow.
Yeah, I guess you just know when it works. It's kind of natural or intuitive. It's just like, it propels you to expand upon it, right? And then it's all about execution in the end. Once it's like, yes, this is funny. Now we just got to implement it. We just got to get the timing or the casting or whatever.
Yeah, the timing is absolutely key. I mean, it really is.
And it sounds like some of the players here with their sketch experience background was able to, tap into that, as opposed to, newcomers having to rehearse over and over again. Did these films have a lot of pre-production to get them made?
In terms of rehearsal
or location scouting, getting crew, just the build up to get it made. How challenging was pre-production? A lot of things that happened recently are just, COVID challenges, if you will. But the natural challenges of making a movie and how hard they are.
Well, I'll say, Megan, we had to fly her from Scotland. So that was like, we got to know what our schedule is. We can't be like, oh, we'll do it next weekend if this doesn't, so we did need it to be pretty tight in terms of like, and the 2 films on one weekend. So it was like, this has to be done, that has to be done.
Don't ever do that. You probably know that. We just
But there was definitely a certain amount of like, buy and return. Megan and I did all the flowers, and ended up, they all went back to the craft store, once we were done with them. So, there's elements of that.
So if Megan's in Scotland and you're, prepping for this, were you guys just doing a lot of like Zoom calls and
everything on Zoom?
This is what our life looks like already.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge is always, we're 8 hours apart, and we've written like this for years, and we can do it. So it was, the pre and post was all 8 hours apart, and our editor is in New York, and so that was fun. We have like a grid of time zones to figure those things out. But yeah, I mean, can do it.
I'm glad you guys did collaborate. I'm glad all you guys made your movies. Provided some joy and laughter for me. I know it will for our audiences too. Anything anyone wants to add before we sign off here? Because we have time for just a little bit more.
I'd like to jump in and just say that everybody, I think, of all the material here, it's such a great job at developing something that I would like to see as either a full feature or an episodic. I saw all of like just the pieces that are all there, and it's just a great sign of a great script, great character development and world building, and I really think everybody was super successful in that, and I totally want to see more.
Yeah, I feel very good about the company we're keeping, and thank you very much for having us in the festival.
Yeah, absolutely. We
Thank you.
this block.
Thanks,
I
everybody.
feel like if I could have
The
timed
best
it,
block
I
we've
should have
been
signed
about
off for Shireen's exit there. It was so lovely.
Yeah,
That was very nice. Very nice.
No, we want to ruin it by saying more.
Exactly. Well, I could talk to you guys more. We all could talk to you individually about your films, let alone all of us together. Thank you so much again for making your movies, being here. Congratulations, and I hope to meet you guys in person. If you're ever in San Francisco, stop by, reach out.
Likewise, thank you so much, Jason.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
All right,
so
everybody, thanks for watching
everybody.
another Q&A. Hope you enjoyed this one. Check out more great independent film and support more independent movies at sfindy.com. Thanks for watching.